Coming up this week on Winchester Deadly Passion. As a hunter, there isn't anything more exciting or rewarding than bringing an animal of a lifetime directly to you. On occasion, waiting quietly in a prime location may be your best option. However, there are those times when being aggressive can really pay off. Calling, rattling, and using decoys are all techniques that need to be in every hunter's bag of tricks. And for Melissa Bachman, there is no better time or place to showcase these tactics than during the rut in South Dakota. With an East River archery tag in hand and bucks streaming in every direction, the hope is a decoy will slow one of these giants down long enough for her to get a shot.
On this hunt, I'm going to be heading to South Dakota. Now, it's East River, South Dakota. There's a lot of different deer tags you can get in South Dakota, but as a non-resident, all you're basically going to get is an archery tag for East River, and man, do they have some bucks. In fact, where I'm hunting, well, I'm going with Cody Warne. He has an incredible property, and how it works there is it's really a self-guided hunt. You're paying for a year-round archery lease. So you can come in, you can do your scouting, you can hang cameras, your stands, all the different things, and it's your hunt. Your moves, you do something wrong, it's on you. You do something right, that's also on you. I'm a huge fan of finding a place I like to hunt and going back year after year. You know what to expect, you love the people that you're with, and you get to know the land. Now when you're doing your own self-guided hunt, this becomes more important than ever. My very first year at Cody's, well, it was a little difficult. Cody helped me set some stands, we went out, he showed me the area and gave me a lot of tips. But year after year as I've come back, well, you really get to learn those deer's patterns. And even though things change, one year there was a big slew, the next year it was gone. Things change, but a lot still stays the same. The deer will still go through that little set of trees that I like to set up in, and if you sit all day, you really are gonna have luck. And that's a big part of when you're hunting on your own. You need to be out there. Whether you're hunting all day or you're just sitting in your blind, basically scouting, it's super important. Now, usually I've been coming to South Dakota right during the middle of the rut, but this year it's just kind of getting towards the end of October, and these bucks are all over the place. Now, I did bring my bow just in case, but I had no clue how on earth I was gonna film it. I had a camera, I had a bow, I'm up in this small tree, and I thought, it'll be fine, nothing will happen. Oh yeah, something always happens when you least expect it. It has been an amazing morning. I actually had like 48 hours in between trips, so I drove for 12 hours to get here. Got here yesterday, set up 4 or 5 blinds, so that way next week when I have a cameraman, we have a really good setup. So this morning, I came out to this tree just kind of to get a vantage point. I've got a camera, my bow, all my stuff up here, and I had a beautiful buck, probably 40 yards, just awesome. I wanted to see how the deer were reacting to our blind. They were fine with it. Unfortunately, I got footage of them, did not want to shoot them without filming them, and hopefully I don't regret that later. I might though.
This segment was brought to you by Sportsman's Alliance. Our heritage, our fight. Protecting hunting from coast to coast.
Did you know that Ohio is home to the Sportsman's Alliance, which was created when animal rights activists tried to stop trapping within the state? The future of hunting depends on sportsmen sticking together regardless of what you do. Whether you're a deer hunter, duck hunter, fisherman, or you trap, anti-hunters love to divide sportsmen and try to ban the hunting of animals based on this method, such as with bait, when you're using dogs, or even archery and crossbows. Just another fun fact showing how sportsmen and women are helping make a difference. anywhere in the country that you can go and you can rattle and decoy bucks, well, that's my favorite. And South Dakota is probably at the top of my list when it comes to that. And one of the best places, in my opinion, to go, that's East River. And every year I head out to Cody Warne's and the bucks are everywhere. Now at Cody's, this is a completely self-guided hunt. I'm out there setting my stance. You're basically paying for an archery lease, but the thing is, he has the property, he has the bucks, and it is an absolutely incredible place to go and probably one of my favorite places across the entire United States. We just arrived into South Dakota and we didn't have time to get out hunting as much as I wanted to get in the blinds. So instead we came out to the archery park. Gonna just take a few shots because we're gonna be hunting this week all day, every day. Not gonna have a lot of other time. I've been traveling around, so I'm just gonna make sure my bow's on. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna go sit in that same group of trees we've sat before, and I'm hoping some of those big bucks come rolling through. I think we're gonna add the decoy in as well. It's already at the beginning of November. I think these bucks are gonna start fighting, start rutting. I think it should be pretty good, so cannot wait for tomorrow morning. There can be a lot of advantages to know something that works, something that's been efficient in the past, and try it again. And that's exactly what I was gonna do. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be as good as last year, but deer are creatures of habit, and I was hoping they'd come right on through. My entire life, I have absolutely loved hunting whitetails. Now, of course, you can sit on stand and just wait for them to come in. It's cool when a big buck comes in. But when you can actually do something to bring them in, the adrenaline goes through the roof. And how I like to do it is by putting a decoy out, adding scents, using rattling, grunting, everything you can do to bring those deer in. And when they connect and they lock in on that decoy, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing better. One of the things I'm trying to do is I want this decoy to be facing the way I want him to come. Almost all bucks are gonna try to fight him head on, plus they're gonna try to get his wind. So right now we've got a west wind. This is a great setup for it. I'm gonna spray him down really good. That way if I got any scent on him, hopefully it won't spook anything. I'm also gonna put just a little bit of active scrape right on his hocks, put some golden estrus around the edges. That way we've got the scent, we've got the sight, we can rattle, grunt right in the blind. Should be all set. So we've got the right wind, our blind's back there. I think it should be a great setup. Give them a nice wide open area, bring them in, have the wind in your favor, and then you just sit back and watch the show and try to get your shakes under control so you can make a shot.
Gear Rundown is brought to you by Analogics. Protect your deer herd with the power of science.
Now, as a bow hunter, we always want to make sure we're doing everything possible. Well, of course, your broadhead is extremely important. Now, on all my hunts, I've been using the Rage Hypodermic, and there's a lot of reasons I really like this, but the number one reason is for the penetration. This broadhead penetrates deeper than any other Rage broadhead, and it comes with a shock collar. Now, what I like about these shock collars is they're plastic and they hold those blades in place. Now, one of the number one things that people don't like about expandables, well, they're afraid that they're gonna open prematurely and not be ready when the moment of truth comes. With this shock collar, it holds it nice and tight, and because it's plastic, when that hits the animal, it actually breaks immediately. It's even better than the rubber band because that will contract and expand, where this immediately breaks. Now that means you gotta put a new shock collar on every time you shoot, but it really does work amazing. So I'll be shooting the Rage Hypodermic all year, and let's face it, the results speak for themselves. I've had a 52-yard pass through, I've had tons of nice up-close pass throughs, and that really does make a difference. If you've got a blood trail coming out of both sides, all the better, and you'll find your deer or whatever animal you're after much quicker.
This segment was brought to you by Boss Buck. For the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market, choose Boss Buck feeders. Now you're getting serious. Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Cutty Back Digital. More deer, fewer blanks. Hard-hitting Easton Arrows. Hunter's Safety System. Winchester Repeating Arms. Analogics. Protect your deer herd with the power of science. Scent Killer Gold with Hunt Dry technology. Apply it, dry it, and go hunt. Rage Broadheads, leading the evolution in lethal technology. Sportsman's Alliance, protecting hunting from coast to coast. Engel Coolers, the original high-performance cooler company. And Golden Triangle Whitetail, your hunt of a lifetime awaits.
Hunting South Dakota is one of my absolute favorite places for big whitetails, and a lot of people don't think of it. East River offers some giant bucks, and on this trip, well, I'm back at Cody Warne's, one of my favorite places on a self-guided hunt, and the bucks are on the move. Now, just because I usually like to hunt at Cody's during the peak of the rut, well, I've been there in a wide variety of seasons. I've been there early season where we set up on water and we had deer coming all over the place. I've also been there during late season, which can be very good because those deer, well, they bunch up, they get together, and you know where they all want to be? All at the same location, at Cody Warne's property, and those deer are everywhere. But as always, just because you have a lot of big bucks there, you're bow hunting. You need those 50 yards and in, and you need to make a plan for that. So the hard part can be is how are you going to make that work? And that's where different techniques really can come into play. There's a lot of reasons that I like hunting in ground blinds, but especially when you're out whitetail hunting. And one of the biggest things is the fact that you're eye level with these deer. It offers you a better shot. When you have a broadside shot, you don't have to think about the angles or how it's going to be hitting the deer. When you get a broadside shot, you're even with them. The arrow usually can zip right through. The other thing, well, it's a lot more comfortable. You're in a blind. If it's really cold out, you're going to stay warmer. You have a more comfortable chair, and you can move around a little bit more. It also helps you when you need to get to full draw. Now, a lot of people would say, well, if you got a buck at 10, 12 yards and you're hunting out of a ground blind, isn't that a major issue to get to full draw? Well, the one thing that I like doing is adding a decoy to it, because when you have a decoy, all the deer's attention is right on that decoy. It's not on your blind anymore. And the thing is, you're not going to want to have a blind just sticking out in the middle. You want to brush it in as well. That way, there's nothing for them to look their attention past your decoy. They're focused on the decoy. You can get to full draw and make the shot. You can have a more comfortable setup. It's awesome seeing bucks in that close, and you can get away with a little extra movement right in your blind. For me, the rut is the best. When you're hunting the rut, you've got that decoy out. It can be challenging because they're all over the place. You might pattern a big buck out and he may never show up again. He may be gone for a mile, 2 miles away, and that might be the end of it. But the good news is, there might be a buck from a mile or 2 miles away that ends up right in your lap because of the rut as well. So there's definitely benefits, but when I get to pick where do I want to be mid-November, every year, I want to be on the East River in South Dakota.
Tip of the week is brought to you by Field & Stream. Trusted brands, timeless traditions.
Today I'm out doing a little preseason scouting now. I've been out putting cameras up, hanging stands, and I'm also checking my feeders. Now, one thing, if you live in a state or have property where you can use feeders, the type of feeder you use is huge. Now, I love these Boss Buck feeders for several different reasons. First of all, well, they're extremely durable, but when they're not full, they're light enough that you can move them around, and they're extremely portable. The other thing, if you can't really decide if you want a free choice feeder or an automatic, they can do both. It's a simple conversion. You just add an extra set of legs and you pull this out and you can add in an automatic head. It really works amazing. Now, when people see these free choice heads, their first thoughts are, do deer really eat out of those? And the answer is yes, of course. It may take them a week or so to get used to it if they haven't had a free choice feeder on the property before, but if you can get it in there, it makes a huge difference because it won't take them long to get used to it at all. Another thing that you can do to kind of speed up that time for them to use it, use something with an attractant in it. I like to use Analogic's 365 and put in my feeders. Now, not only does it have a really good smell, but it's really healthy for the deer, giving them all the nutrition and minerals they need, plus it makes them come back and want more. That is huge. Now, little tips that you can use to make your feeders even better is put them close to water. Now, deer need twice as much water as food, so by putting them close, well, you give them everything they need right in one spot. The other thing I like to do, make sure to set your feeder up close to a lot of brush and thick areas. A big buck does not necessarily want to walk out to a completely open field. They like to have cover, so let them stay in cover for as long as possible. That will help you get the big bucks into your feeder. Obviously, I put a cutty back on this. That way you can see what's coming through at what times, and it can be an absolutely amazing scouting tool.
Winchester Deadly Passion is presented by Winchester, the American legend. Matthews Archery, catch us if you can. Field and Stream, where traditions begin. ScoutLookWeather.com. Download the free Deer Log app for your smartphone. Reinhardt, the best archery targets in the world. Sure Shot Jewelry. Check out the Melissa Bachman collection today. And Boss Buck, for the most user-friendly and dependable feeder on the market. Now you're getting serious. Closed captioning is brought to you by Cuddyback Digital. Upgrade to Cuddyback and your images will never look better.
When I go to a new property and I'm hunting whitetails, there's several different things you're looking for. Number one, you're looking for sign and you're trying to hunt that sign. Number two, well, you want to figure out where their bedding areas are, where their feeding areas are, and where their travel corridors are. I'm just getting ready to head out to the blind here in South Dakota. Now it's a nice, cool morning. We've got a west wind, which is perfect for my first blind that I set up. So we're just gonna ease into the trees. Hopefully we can get in there. We've got almost an hour before it gets light. That way I can get my decoy out, get everything just settled down, and hopefully those deer will just keep moving through the trees. Now when I scouted last week, those deer were really filtering out of the trees and going to bed in the sunflowers and corn. But by the looks of it, well, it looks like they're gonna be combining a lot this week, so I'm hoping that'll get some of those deer stirred up. We can get in there, get settled in. We're gonna be sitting all day. We've got kind of windy, cold conditions, but I think it'll be exactly what we need. So with all my different blinds set up, well, I decided to go back to one of my old trusty blinds, the same one that I had had luck with the year before. Now the reason was simple. That's where the wind was the best for this situation. And by the winds we were gonna be having, this would be perfect. So we got in there nice and early, and it wasn't long, and we had deer circling around that decoy. So as the days are winding down, it was nice and early in the morning, and I saw a buck coming through the trees. I just gave a soft grunt, and he started coming right to my decoy. But it's still super dark, and I'm thinking, we've gotta wait, gotta wait. Finally, it's shooting light, and I still can't shoot this deer. My pin is so dark, I can't see. The thing is, we've been sitting in a pitch black blind all morning, and now I've got a monster buck in front of us. In fact, all I can see are brow tines. This deer has, it looked like brow tines that were 1.5 feet long. They were huge. They were as high as the rest of his rack, and there was no question. This was a shooter. I love big brow tines, and this buck had it. So as he's looking around at my decoy, he kept just sinking my heart because he'd start walking away, and I thought, it's over, it's gone, I'm not gonna get a shot. And then he'd turn back and come to our decoy. And that's why you want a good decoy, because it was holding him. And the most important thing I did one soft grunt to bring him in, and then no more sounds. As he was right there, we're talking 10 yards, I never made a peep because I didn't want that deer to know I was in the blind. I was trying to get set up and figure out how to light up my pin. Finally, I decided it's been shooting light and I need to make the shot or I'm gonna lose it. he takes off, and to sit there for that long in the morning, waiting for it to all come through, I was beyond ecstatic. I was so happy.
An absolute giant. I was shaking so bad. I could barely even get to full draw this time, but it looked like it went in right behind his shoulder. He took off. I thought he was gonna tip over right here, but my guess is he's just right in this tree line. Just a beautiful buck. Came right into the decoy. Awesome. Look at the size of these tines. What a beautiful buck. I'm pretty sure his brow tines, almost everything is about the same length. Just a beautiful deer.
And to know that once again, I was out here putting in my own time, scouting, putting up blinds, and I made it happen. And by the looks of it, well, it definitely paid off.
This episode, Melissa was hunting with Cody Warne of Warne Ranches. To book your South Dakota whitetail hunt, visit warrenranches.com and tell them Melissa sent you.